something that Peter was saying. I'm curious about the process of when it gets sent out to review. I realize that you have a certain amount of say in suggesting people that you think would be good for reviewing the book. I'm curious both about, from the sort of publisher side, how much do you actually take that seriously, that list that the author submits, and then also how do you prioritize or hierarchize or sort of determine who it is that you should be asking? Are you looking for the more famous scholars who then might blurb the book on the back? Or are you looking for people who are going to give the very best review, who you know well, and who are your colleagues that work in the same country, or so forth like that? If anybody had any thoughts on that.
Well, you think of remember that your editor has to sell it inside the house to their colleagues, right. And it has to be, your editor is your representative inside the publishing world and your advocate inside the publishing world for the book. So you want both. Don't scoff at the bigness of the name, even if they, you need a combination of both. You need the editor's personal, intellectual, emotional commitment to you and to the project, but you also, you have to help that editor sell you to the world, on which, and for sales and for readers. So it's a combination of it, and just I think if you think of helping your editor be your advocate, that's your job. That's the best you can do for that. And so it's a combination of publicity of the names and sort of someone who understands what you're really doing. And I think that's ultimately the most valuable, is get someone to review who understands the larger implications and who can interpret, who can say things how good of it is and what you're really trying to do in the world in a voice that's not your own. It's not just your own, your own. If someone can speak for you at the importance of what you're doing, who understands what you're really doing.
I'll just say that when I first made that face-to-face introduction with the editor at California, and I gave my 30-second sentence what the book is, I think right after that she said who would review it. And I was lucky that I had names right then and there, so you should already be prepared.
I would just say the biggest names are often they're too busy, they're not going to do it anyway, and someone just asked me the other day, and she said, no, I really want this person, and I said, well, probably this person is, the best thing for this person would be to endorse it. That's where you want this person to be. But she sort of was begging, and we're actually, it's an anonymous process. It was all sort of strange. Anyway, I said, well, it's anonymous, and I did ask the person, and sure enough, the person said, I'm too busy, I can't do that, and I knew it. And so, I had two very trusted people that I know will be really good, and I personally don't really want the luminary names because they're going to take too long, and they're probably are going to even say no. So I would, want very solid scholars, but that also can be invested, and often I feel will sometimes give better feedback. The thing I want the most is great feedback. I want them to say good things, but I also really want reviews that will push and will challenge and will offer good critique. And sometimes the top people are, busy.
Don't pass up a good name if you have it and you know somebody who would actually look at it, though, because it makes a difference in-house.
What Peter was saying about somebody who will understand it, and who, even if they are not going to write even at this review stage, if they were going to write something that's not totally glowing, that can be a good thing for you. If there was somebody who will say, you have missed something here, or you've got a problem here, you're allowed to, part of the process is you respond. And if they point out something that's a very good, that's a valid point, and you say it's a valid point, and I can do this about it, and I can do this about it, that's all to your credit. So.
There are usually 5 names, and often enough, at least one of the names is the same name that I thought of first. So usually there's good overlap. And it tells me something. If I don't know any of the names on the list, that suggests to me something. But sometimes I can also see names that I wouldn't have thought of, and that tells me something about, maybe what tradition you're writing in, or who you're thinking about. So those names are helpful.